And we are back. Welcome to our session on how to create content for TikTok. Really excited for this session. We've got two really amazing TikTok experts joining us today. So I hope you can, well, let's see, everyone's coming in. So yeah, we've got several hundred people live. So good to see you all. Thanks for joining us. Maybe you can say hi in the chat. We have a bit more time in this session for questions. We scheduled a bit more time. So any questions on content or channels for TikTok, we'll have a bit more time. So if you've got any questions, then let them go here. Someone's saying there's an echo. I don't know what this sounds like for anyone else. Sometimes if you refresh your page, that can help. Sounding okay for me. We'll do what we can with the sound as we go through. So let's do the introductions. So, well, welcome Tom and Alex. So if I could ask you to introduce yourselves and give us a bit of background about yourself, maybe starting with, we've got the videos the wrong way around compared to my slide, but maybe we'll start off with Tom.
Sorry to steal your thunder, Alex. I know you're left aligned on the slide, so it's not fair, but so hi, I'm Tom Sweeney. I am the managing director of Kima Media, and we're a kind of social media publisher and content creation house. So my background is in social, having worked at Social Chain, Kima recently, but kind of beyond that, background in like the games industry. So a bit of a weird transition in my career, all the way through from gaming through to social. And now running this business. So yeah, really exciting, and thanks for having me on.
I'll go next then.
Yeah.
So my name's Alex Hoban. I am a content creator and creative director at an agency called Wildfire. I started my career at Unilad quite a few years ago when Facebook was the best platform to be on, and helped grow that channel, and then moved on to an esports team called Fnatic, where I headed up the content team there, and then more recently moved into TikTok in the sort of tail end of 2018, and since then have been helping brands establish a presence on TikTok organically and building out content strategies from there.
Great. Okay, so how do I get this back? So let's start off with a general question then. How can I get this to, if I get rid of my...
Can't see me, so...
Yeah, there we go. How do I... unfocus screen. How do I get all three of us? There we go, we're all three of us. So, okay, well, let's kick off this discussion then. So, start off by saying, what are the key success factors, or what are the key elements that make good TikTok content, or a good, probably the same thing, TikTok channel?
I think that's a really interesting and very broad question. Is like what makes good content and what makes a good channel. Alex, maybe you've got a different kind of theory on this, but for me, the standout thing is kind of having a purpose and a reason to be on the platform. There's a lot of like creators, brands who will be on TikTok but won't necessarily have a very clear reason to do it. They don't have a why. And I think with TikTok, what's crucial is knowing that you're joining a community, and that there's consumption going on kind of without you there. So what value are you adding as a brand or as a creator? And I think that having that kind of purpose is really, really important. So not necessarily aligning to like a cause, but just knowing why you're there as a great starting point is super important. There's obviously like the logistics of actually creating good content and making a good channel, but the principle, the foundation on which you build is knowing this is why I exist on this platform. This is why my audience is here. This is the type of thing they want to consume and receive from me as the creator or as the brand. And I think I would always use that as a starting point for TikTok, but also actually for any social platform. It's becoming increasingly important.
Okay, so start with why. That's a good
start with why, yeah.
Okay, and Alex said we lost you there briefly, but you know, what are the key success factors that make a good TikTok channel or good TikTok content?
Reiterating Tom's point, I think it's key when you join a platform to have obviously the why, but also to know why, to know what the platform can provide. So I would say in this case, it's mainly used as an awareness piece, and it should always be just that. So a lot of people that I speak to, sometimes they get slightly carried away and think, oh, how can I now drive sales directly from the content we're creating? And that often moves from what can be original and authentic content towards more brandy, brand heavy, and as a result, less well performing content. So I think if you manage your expectations about joining the platform and add that to your why, that can really help you in the long run as to make great content on TikTok.
I think we'll touch on it later, but like when you look at what the best brands or the best creators are doing, it's exactly that. It's not like overselling themselves. They're not using it as like a platform they're commercializing yet. They're trying to, the people who are succeeding are like establishing themselves, showing that why, showing that kind of, this is why we're relevant to the platform. And then they're growing their followings, and potentially in the future, they'll be able to capitalize on that from like a sales point of view or a commercial point of view, or maybe the platform stays as this like big brand heavy, like building a connection with the audience. It's difficult to predict, but it's really interesting.
And every media has its own formats in terms of content. The TV had the soap opera, radio has the drive time or the breakfast show. We can probably keep going through the list. There's some pretty sort of strong emerging content formats on TikTok. You know, what do you think those formats are, or types of content, and which do you think are the most promising for brands or creators?
I'll let you take it.
Sure, give me the takeaway.
Yeah.
Well, I think the key, and it probably doesn't fit the format that you were saying there, James, but the key is I find the trends and finding a way to weave branded content into those trends can be a good way of having like the soap opera or the drive time show to keep regular, consistent viewership coming to your channel, and whether that's trends that TikTok set themselves with their weekly trending hashtags, or whether that's trends that just happen organically and naturally. I think if you can find a way to be dynamic enough to jump on board with those and create, obviously only align with the ones that are relevant to you, but create content that uses them in clever, innovative ways, and you can ensure that regular viewership, like the soap opera or like the drive time and the other forms of traditional media. I hope that's I kind of winged that, by the way.
So, I mean, you're basically saying it's more about memes than formats. So
it's all about the emerging in vogue thing in that moment. So you can't pin everything on like it being like a soap opera or like shows on TikTok don't work. Like this super planned content strategy over a month where you've got your like social media calendar, like you have your Twitter account. It doesn't work on TikTok because, as Alex has rightly pointed out, like everything's changing all the time. So if the trends are happening like week by week at the slowest, and they can happen day by day, hour by hour at the fastest. So your approach has to be so different to running a TikTok account as it is to running your normal, I say normal in inverted commas, like Facebook, Twitter accounts, because you have like reactivity is dead. You can't like wait for something to become like big on TikTok and then, oh, I'll do an Old Town Road like parody dance. You're dead. Like it's never going to perform because you're like even a week late is late and it's dead. So it's like, are you being proactive, and have you truly understood what the platform is doing? Like the content I see will be totally different to the content that Alex sees on his For You page because of the algorithm. And so if you want to reach me, you're going to have to make some like really surreal humor video where it's like slightly dark, really weird, makes you feel uncomfortable. Whereas for Alex, he may really love like just like crazy stunts or something where people are doing things, or he's maybe into like private school banter. So he's listening to Homerton B or whatever. So this is the thing. It's the strategy is so different depending on the very niche group of people you want to reach. And so yeah, maybe we can talk about it later, but followers don't mean anything on TikTok really. It's all about like that content in that moment. And so you can have an account that starts from 0 and you can be on the For You page if the content bangs. And it's so difficult to know what's going to bang. So you just have to like iterate, really understand the platform. And it's so intuitive. And I find that like when you think something's going to like, when you think something's going to bang, it generally does, because there's just this like thing in it, and I'm not sure what it is. There's like this feeling inside you when you create something really cool, and I think that is something that is unique to TikTok. So Alex has got it bang on when he says that you have to be willing to kind of intertwine your brand message with the kind of content that's coming through on your brand page. What's your audience watching right now?
Okay, so it's about memes, as you say. Within that, there's probably some kind of clusters, right? So you've got the dance video, the skit, the kind of, more user-generated kind of selfie plus type of thing, and I guess as a brand, you'd have to work out, where you think or a creator, where do you have the skills to play? Not everyone's going to be able to do a good dance video. Maybe they could. So, do you see any sort of clusters within the memes that people should be trying to think of when they're trying to write them?
Steer away from memes as a definition of the content. I think you can create any content and adapt it to TikTok. So, for example, everything from property companies in the UK doing before and afters of property renovations, or doing tours of properties, but just doing it in a very TikTok way. So whether that's waiting for the right trend to come along to align to that, or the right sound, because as I saw in your last conversation, it was a very sound, I think it was Matt was saying it was a very sound-led platform as it is. So if you can create the content that you want to create, make it short enough to be relevant to the platform, and then add all the elements on top of that, whether that's editing it in app, or adding a sound to it, using a filter, using an effect, just applying it more specifically to TikTok, then you can really be onto a winner there. So that applies to really any vertical, from gaming all the way through to beauty, to property, to lifestyle, fitness, travel, and none of those have dances in or have memes in, and they can still get millions and millions of views. So I think that's important to note as well.
Yeah, some of the stuff that appears on my For You page now, it used to be like Charlie D'Amelio doing like the dances, and then like TikTok realized I'm not really into it, so then it started showing me these just like weird surreal memes. It started showing me like sketches and really funny stuff, and then now I spend a lot more time on the platform, so it's in their interest to show you content that you care about. So if you have a piece of content that is good, I would say TikTok is actually probably the best platform for surfacing that, in terms of giving it to people who it thinks will enjoy it. Facebook, you're gonna have to pay Facebook if you want to reach an audience. They're just so developed. You're not going to reach them unless you've got that audience pre-built on a page or in a group. If you've got an Instagram channel, like, you're lucky to get an explore, maybe, if it's like really popping off, but again, you don't know. Reels is a kind of like fake TikTok, I guess. And so for me, just making good content and then working out how you can steer that in the direction that is TikTok-y, as in like making it feel natural for the platform, making it look like it's created for the platform primarily. It's very interesting to me that actually TikTok allows you to get away with making content that you would like never dream of putting out on your like Twitter or Facebook page or your Instagram page. Like, seriously, like Xbox, right? They make great content on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, but their first ever TikTok, they did it yesterday, was them posting a video clip of the Series S and then saying, or shall we show you a picture of the Series X? Now, in between showing those two clips, the guy was scrolling through his feed on his phone because it was a screen recording, and showing like all of the memes that he'd saved, and like it obviously it's completely scripted, completely tongue-in-cheek, but it shows you how real you can be on the platform. And so I think the platform allows you to do really creative things in a very like low cost, low effort way. And it's about just like connecting with the audience, being funny, having a good time, being interesting. And yeah, you can't rely on having 1 million followers on TikTok to get you by anymore. It's all about, because people have got so much choice. There's 100 permutations of that video that you just created, right? So you're not the only person making something. So it's better to be fast than perfect, I would say.
Great, got it. So I'm just trying to share that TikTok example you just had. I think I've absolutely failed there, but hang on. Great. So anything to add? So you're saying TikTok's maturing as a platform. It's not just about, you know, dance videos anymore. There's a much broader range of content is working. It's a great platform for content because you can get distribution. Is that distribution going to stay? You know, it was the same with, I guess, all these platforms initially, and then, you know, the amount of content increased, you know, and then it was sort of throttled a lot more. Or is the fact that it's more content driven gonna keep the discovery going?
I can't predict the future, but I'm always I try to ride the wave until it crashes. So I wouldn't be too worried about if you wait and worry about whether reach is going to be reduced or whether they'll start to be focusing on paid, then you're essentially missing out on unrivaled organic reach at the moment, and for the immediate time being at quite what would be for a brand low cost, because it doesn't demand a lot of production, it doesn't demand a lot of time because of the length of the videos. I mean, it does take some planning and some and a bit of structure, but you can run a TikTok channel with relatively low cost and low time consumption. And I often advocate, I'm an advocate of redistributing content as much as I am creating it. So if you can take brands often spend huge amounts of money making content for their other channels. If you can take that content and look at it with a analytical lens and adapt it to TikTok, then you're already able to start a channel consistently growing from there, and then start looking at creating original organic content off the top of that. But yeah, I would say, but back to your question on the on the reach and the paid aspect, I think hopefully TikTok will have seen the other channels grow and also struggle through their aspirations of making it mostly a paid platform, and hopefully they'll learn from that. But Tom might feel differently, I'm not sure.
I think, yeah, if you, as a marketer, if you're saying, oh, well, I don't want that free thing now because it might cost me money to maintain it in the future, you're a lazy marketer. So number one is like, even if they said no brand is getting any reach here from 2021 onwards, you've still got until 2021 to absolutely smash out of the park and get some free reach, right? Like, it's so easy. The platform is so easy to just make something, and even if you get a few views, that's better than nothing, and you can repurpose, as Alex said. But I think it probably will go to a point where organic reach is reduced, and I think that'll be for two reasons. So one, I think they'll wise up to the fact they can start charging brands a little bit for increased distribution and getting that kind of like first, second, third slot on the For You page, or being like advertising is going to increase. There's going to be more ads between the posts that you see. So I think that's going to be inevitable. But the second reason is like TikTok is such like a feast of content that actually your challenge is not that TikTok's going to monetize itself, because that's inevitable. But the challenge is that you only have so long to get good at TikTok. It's really easy to do it now, but there are so many people, so many brands joining, getting better at it, improving. There's more content than ever before. if you've had an idea, someone's probably already done it and is doing it better than you. And so the core issue here is that you're competing. The market share of TikTok is growing, right? There's more users, there's more consumption, there's more content, there's more creation, and so your share of that is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. And that's the challenge, is you need to go and fight that growth, is start riding the wave of the platform, as Alex said. So it's growing, so you should be on there now and try and beat that growth rate of the platform. So if the growth platform is growing 2% month on month, if you're doing 2%, you're just existing, because that's your following or your growth of your platform. You can do 4%, you're growing really by 2% month on month. So start like setting yourself goals of outgrowing the platform, capturing market share on that platform, capturing the attention of the audience, becoming a staple of it. And then every time someone loads up their phone, they're going to see you front and center. And TikTok is then going to go, okay, we could charge Alex's brand for distribution on this platform, but actually when Alex posts something, his audience are really loving it, they're engaging with it, and therefore they're staying on the platform. And that's what TikTok wants, is they just want more time from their users. And so they'll show you anything. If it works, they will literally show you anything. They don't discriminate between like brand and creator right now. So leverage that, use that, and outgrow the platform.
Got it. So in terms of the actual process of creating the content, you've got a lot of things to work with. You've got filters, you've got music, you've got all the different elements TikTok is giving you. How should someone, so there's two stages, a brand or a creator or someone coming into this, maybe from another platform and, getting started, what's a good way to get up the learning curve? And secondly, if you're already sort of doing content and doing well, how do you sort of get deeper into it, learn more, pick up some new tricks? It is very, as you say, democratic. You can do a great TikTok as a teenager in the bedroom just as much as a big celebrity or brand, but at the same time some of it's getting quite sophisticated and the cuts and the different elements. So how do you manage and improve on all that?
I'd say step one is like watch a lot of TikToks, like just consume content, learn what makes you tick and what makes the people who are watching the same things as you, what makes them engage, what is the hook in the video. And once you start to go like, oh, that's why I liked it, or that's why TikTok showed me this, then you'll start to pick up the tricks. So TikTok is all of, like, my theory behind what the algorithm wants is that it just wants like really long watch times. They want people to stay on the platform, capture more like share of people's time. And so if you can create a video where someone watches from the very start to the very end, you're starting to win already. So like that is something you would pick up instantaneously by watching like a few TikToks just in a row, because you'll know that the reason that dance challenges work is not because people are like particularly, the algorithm's impressed by someone's dance skills. It's because people go, I want to see the whole dance. You don't just go, oh, I liked the way that they moved their arm, then next. You just go, oh, this is a routine, I want to see the whole routine. Or if it's like if there's a song playing that's really hooky, then you go, okay, yeah, I'm going to listen to this whole song and something fun's happening. Like the one that kind of like struck the immediate chord for me was the guy throwing ping pong balls down his stairs and trying to get it in a cup at the bottom.
Yeah.
And it was like a 3-part TikTok. Okay. So this guy had done 3 whole videos and he like maxed out the length of all of them and was missing. And he's like, wait till the end, wait till the end, wait till the end. And once you invested like 10 seconds of your time, it's past my filter of like, I'm invested. I want to see if this guy sinks the ping pong ball into a cup. And there's no like value in that to me. Like I don't win if he gets it in a cup, but I'm just like, I'm rooting for him, right? It's such a simple thing. And so if you can drag someone through a piece of content, get them past that like initial barrier, get them past that 10-second point, and then bring them through to the end of the content. And even better, if you can like get them to come back and back and back, you are going to beat the platform straight away. And so that would be like my cheat, I guess. But yeah, like it is all about, in terms of creating content, for me, it's all about just like use the platform. It's really good. You don't need to hire loads of video editors and super slick production teams with TikTok. As a brand, you can get started at the very least without all of that. And then when you prove the value, you can really increase that production value. You can start adding so much more with editors, with like a really cool like production suite. You can have sets, you can go out on location. You don't need that straight away. You can do something really simple, really basic, learn the platform, and kind of build on it from there, because everyone else on the platform is learning too. It's not like you're joining YouTube where you only have like one shot to get someone to watch your video. Like I see Gymshark, right, and as one of like the leading, most consistent performers on the platform in terms of their organic content. And they have some real stinkers of videos sometimes, and it doesn't matter. No one's going to unfollow you because they won't have seen the video, because TikTok decides that wasn't very good, so I'm not going to show it to anyone. So just experiment, have fun with it, make more, make it faster, do it quicker, and the platform will reward you for that, and you will learn what's working for you.
Tom, just a quick follow-up.
Oh, sorry, go.
You talk a lot about the hook, the bang. Is it going to bang? You know, what's your hit rate and working out when you're creating content? Is this going to bang? It's got a strong hook, and how right are you?
I wish I was right 100% of the time, and I would say that actually, like, that's the holy grail. Is it going to bang, right? So we don't publish content we don't think is going to bang. So like that's the trick, is like we only do like good shit. That's our number one. Like, is this good? Would you watch it? Chances are, if you're not going to watch it, no one else is, so don't post it. So I would say before we even post something, we've probably got like a 40% kill rate. Is we make a piece of content, or we hire an actor for a day, and we say, right, we've got 100 ideas, go record these, bang, get them out, and then 40 of them are absolutely crap. And we just go like, they're never going to see the light of day. They will live in drafts, and they will be like in the highlights reel, like just as B-roll sometime. And then you have 60% that go out, and probably 50% of those like absolutely scream. And then the others are just like okay content. And you see that it's like maybe one in every 2-3 videos just absolutely like pops off. And then some of them are just really poor. And we're learning as we go. So I would say 30% is like our proper hit rate.
Got it.
Nice about the platform is the ability. There's so many dimensions to what could make a video successful. So you could have an absolute stinker of a video, as Tom was saying, but the sound of the video could be very useful to people, and then they suddenly use that sound for their videos, and then suddenly you've gone viral because your sound is being used. It's the same with people duetting a video. One of the reasons a lot of the dancers do well is because there's another dimension to the video where people can duet it and make a video alongside that video and have both on their channels or react to it. There's so many different dimensions. So I've often been very surprised at videos that sometimes I think, or maybe we shouldn't have put that out, or that's not going to do well. And then the brand come back a week later and they're like, this is our best performing video ever. Thanks so much. And I'm like, Jesus. That was a close call. So there's times like that when you're just very surprised, and the platform continually surprises me. Or I'll be watching a video and I'll think, how has this got 1 million likes? But it's just found its audience, and it's just done well off the many dimensions that TikTok offers.
This is the thing, right? Is so we're being paraded today as like TikTok experts, but to tell you the truth, TikTok experts don't exist. They don't exist. No one's a TikTok expert yet, and I actually don't think TikTok are experts at TikTok. So like the platform is evolving so quickly that you can be really, really good at it, and I think we probably both are. And a lot of the speakers you have today are probably absolutely flying on TikTok, but I don't think anyone's like an expert in the way that you can be an expert at Facebook, because Facebook's algorithm is like, it changes, but it's so slow, and like you can kind of work it out. TikTok stuff just goes wild, as Alex says, like, and you go, what? Like that, we just put that out as like we needed to post something and we didn't really know if it was going to work, and it's just like, it's been incredible. So it's great. Yeah.
Good. Well, let's go into the questions from the audience now, and I've still got a few more myself, but let's go in. So Julia is asking, what's the best tip you've learned to grow a channel organically? Well,
Post content.
Yeah.
Post content. just make stuff, get started, post stuff. You don't need followers to be successful. So that's my number one thing, is like, don't worry about your follower count on TikTok. I would much rather have a higher like count than a higher follower count, because it doesn't really matter. And we've posted videos like at the start of our channel that have gone on to get like 1 million views, and we posted stuff now that we've got like millions of followers that's getting 200,000. And so you like, followers don't matter, it's about the content. So that would be my advice, is like, number one, the way that you measure TikTok success is not about your follower count. It's don't be like pulled aside by that. It's like, just focus on making good stuff that people enjoy. And even if you're only getting like 10,000 views a video, if they're like really high quality views that people are going through the whole way, that they're engaging with, they're liking, they're commenting on it, then the platform will reward you. And so, yeah, just shift your focus in the way that Instagram, it's all about followers. Facebook, it's all about followers. Here it's not. Which doesn't answer your question at all, but hopefully kind of flips on its head.
Okay, and what about people? A couple of people asking about trends. How do you find them? Can brands jump on them now? They can't use the music, you know. So, Alex, maybe you want to answer. Yeah.
Am I? Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. So in terms of trends, I would say so as a creator as well, we get sent the trending hashtags which TikTok are anticipating are going to be trending the week after, a week early. So that's how I work personally with a lot of brands, is that I'm sure that's quite widely available, is I'll take this email, I'll digest it, I pull out where I think brands can make content, and then I'll align pieces of content with those trends. But in terms of the sounds, again, there's sounds widely available on TikTok. I'm not sure what the licensing rules are, but I presume as a brand, you're as free to use those on the app as any other creator is, because you are acting just as a creator. If you then pull that video out and put it on in your TV ads, then that's where the issue's probably going to be. But using it on the platform, I'm sure there's no issues around it.
There was a lot of like kind of fuss in the press about brands not being able to use like certain audio clips, like licensed music and things. That only applies if you are like a recognized business profile, which it's almost better not to be. So there's no like problem with it. It's a gray area, I would say. So you can, if you have like a business account, I wouldn't have a business account. I'd be a creator for as long as you possibly can. If you mark yourself as a business, you're marking yourself as like a mark for TikTok, right? To go, oh, we can monetize these guys. So like, stick it out, be organic as long as you possibly can. And then it's a value proposition, right? So if you decide we're not using licensed music because we're too big for that, or we're not comfortable with the licensing and being in this gray area, but actually, and so therefore flipping to a business account gives us loads of like insights, or gives us access to the ads manager, feel free. But yeah, my advice would be certainly just stick out as a creator for as long as you possibly can. And yeah, the rule only applies for like brand accounts, and they have to be like specifically marked as a brand account, so you have to opt into that.
Okay, question on, well, relating to that, do you think using a designated person, this is Lauren asking this, to be the face of the brand is a good thing? She's also worried that her brand account's becoming the Lauren show. She can't get her colleagues on there.
Well, Lauren, I think that's great that you're creating loads of content and that you're willing to go and do it and be part of it. Like that would be, I think that's actually one of the number one challenges for any brand, is getting someone to be like to be present and be putting themselves out there on a platform like that. You know, if I was the marketing director of your company, I'd go, oh, I don't know if I want Lauren to be the only person that's on our TikTok account, because what if Lauren leaves and she then takes all her followers with her because it's the Lauren show? From your point of view, do it. because it's great and it's working clearly and you're happy and things like that. But I think, like, as a general rule, I would want like lots of variety on a brand account, and I wouldn't want to be over reliant on one person. But equally, like, if you're better than everyone else at making content, don't like shy away from it. You'll see that all of like the big production houses, the Keimers, the social chains, the uni lads, they're all going to be producing content that has like a couple of like key presenters in it, and that's always been the case. It's not the end of the world. Just when you're being the Lauren show, like, make sure it's kind of relevant to the brand rather than just being you. So yeah, that would be my only advice.
Second that Tom's points for sure. I'd say any content's better than no content. So if it's a choice between being Lauren's show or being no show, then just keep it going as long as you can and keep riding that wave. But maybe it is, as Tom says, very hard to get brands to get on board with having individuals in their content, unless they're a brand ambassador or stuff like that. So if you can make the content really organic because you yourself are an employee of the brand, then I think that's the most authentic content you can get, and that's something that will be really, really valuable to a brand. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that.
Just as a workaround as well, like, there are so many actors out there who want to do, or who want work, especially in like this period where it's difficult to find shoots, and like going on locations is a bit of a pain. So there's no reason you couldn't just spend like a couple of £100 on an actor's day rate, send them 50 ideas. Like, this is what we do, is we send them 50 ideas to an actor and say, can you just record these in front of like your green screen or at home against a white wall? We send them a ring light. They just record it on their phone, and we work out which ones are going to perform best, and we like edit them and post them. So there's no reason that, Lauren, if you decided, you know what, I feel a bit like I'm becoming an influencer here, I would say great. But also, if you're uncomfortable with it, then go and get an actor to do it. Pay them the couple £100 that it's going to cost, and you'll end up with 50 pieces of content you can post on your channel.
It's when you start getting offered those teeth whitening deals when it becomes an issue.
Yeah.
Great. And Baroni is asking, I probably said that wrong, can you repost content again? You know, jack into new music. Is that a no-no? I
think it's always valuable to have the ability and have the open-mindedness to do it. In case, like, on my personal channels, I've been known to just repeat content because I throw all my creativity into working with brands a lot. So sometimes I can just have to go back to one of my better performing videos and repost. But I would say it doesn't take a lot to recreate a video that's already been created. One. So, you've seen that you would want to repost, pull out the key parts of them and what are well, and then either recreate those tit for tat or try and put a little bit of a spin on it. That can work quite well, in my opinion.
I've seen so many.
You're struggling for ideas.
I've seen so many creators succeed with like just the like variants on an idea. And there's a couple of creators that have like really started trending recently who have done like one thing, and now they're just doing like, they got like really big off one video, and now they're just like kind of iterating on it and improving slowly over time. So is it Millie B, or like the rapper that does that M to the B song? She's absolutely smashed it with her TikTok content because she's just like she's like riding the wave of like her most successful stuff. And so like that has absolutely like popped off for her, and she's built this cult following like of Americans, I think it is, that absolutely go wild for her. So it's really interesting to kind of iterate on content, and I wouldn't necessarily post something that's exactly the same, but there's no reason you couldn't just like iterate on it, improve it. And again, TikTok is the kind of platform where chances are most people who your followers probably aren't seeing the same content over and over again. It's going to be shown to different people, and you'll know very quickly if it's going to perform or not. The platform will it will perform or it won't. Simple.
Yeah.
Great. And Bryony has a good follow-up question. What about KPIs and data? What you said, it's not about followers. What should you be tracking? What are the usual ratios to look at?
I personally it's not about followers, but a lot of brands still use followers as like their main currency, and they like to think that. So often a key performance indicator for me when working with a brand is the similar views, followers, etc. And there's an interesting metric on TikTok, which is the profile visits. And if you look at your profile visits to follower ratio, and I try and get a grasp of why those people aren't converting into followers, and try and work on that, and it helps me pull out some specific strategies around creating content with that as well, and why people potentially aren't following. But Tom does have a very good point about it's not as important. I think we may have lost you, Alex. Still work off that metric, the education piece. Oh,
I think so. We just had you. You were breaking up a little bit, but I think we kind of got the message there. And like I'm glad you agree that like its followers aren't everything, and actually like looking at it in a really analytical way to understand. It's almost individual user behavior that you're talking about, where you're going, okay, so they've given enough of a crap about my content, they've clicked through to my profile, but why are they not converting into followers now? So again, it's like the psychology of the audience. So for us, like we use engagement rate as a really big one, and making sure that on a per video basis rather than like on a channel sense. So like how did each video perform against the last? Is the engagement rate going in the right direction? Are we getting good sentiment in our comments? Like people on TikTok are very honest, and so like there's a good example of like Depop, who did an ad recently on TikTok, and the comments are absolutely garbage. People are like, this is the worst ad I've ever seen. And so in those cases, you're so reliant on people liking your platform in order to your content in order to succeed, that you should really be listening to them on a very granular level, and platforms at a size where you can still do that very easily as a brand. So I take a lot more stock from the comments on TikTok than I would replies to a Facebook post. Like as a brand, I wouldn't spend a lot of time on Facebook like comments, but TikTok comments, I would always like pour through those. So I think that's really, really important. I've like always, engagement rates incredibly important, likes, comments. But yeah, like understanding why those things are happening is probably more important than the actual numbers. So you, as a marketing team, you have to have a mentality shift with TikTok to allow yourselves to become more experimental, more accepting of things. Some things doing really well, other things not doing well at all. And so it's hard. I would say it's harder to be consistent on a platform like TikTok than it is on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And therefore just accepting that, iterating, always improving, and focusing on building your kind of like channel quality in the long run is going to be really important.
And how are you tracking some of those KPIs? Are you using TikTok's internal tools, third-party tools, or you creating a Google sheet or something? What's the best way of managing that kind of data?
I mean, TikTok gives you a lot of the data itself, and it's not a particularly open platform in terms of its APIs and the data that you can pull out of it. So a lot of the third-party tools out there are literally just scraping web interfaces rather than having access to TikTok itself. So for the most part, we just use TikTok. Alex, you may know some other tools, but for us, because we are running our own channels rather than we're not running a brand's channel, the KPIs we have are kind of very like content specific. How did this video do on the platform today? And what changed that? Whereas a brand maybe goes, okay, we want to know trend data for the last 30 days, in which case you're going to need to know, you're going to have a spreadsheet or a tool to do it. So yeah, it's kind of a different look, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's exactly what you said. There's a few third-party data applications that help you pull, but most of the time it's the stuff that's available on TikTok, which is all you can provide. And as Tom said, they're not very clear or open with that. Particularly the age thing, that can be very tough for some brands. I'm not sure, Tom, I know you mentioned KFC gaming earlier and KFC in general. I know that it's tough with any brand like that, whether it's stuff that's around food or stuff that's around drink, because you're not able to really get a lot of, firstly, you're not allowed to gate the age demographics, but you're also not allowed to get a lot of visibility to what the demographic of your audience is age-wise, which can make it tough when if you're a brand that's like an alcohol brand or a fast food brand or any of those type of things. That can be very tricky to get around the rules and regulations that are within society about creating content for that audience. So age is always a tricky one, and one that I hope is going to be worked on in the future.
Yeah, TikTok are actually generally very helpful and responsive when you talk to them about like things that you want. They always do send that through to their development team. But considering they're like a huge, global, multi-billion-dollar company, that it's not a case of if you're talking to some startup, it's not the same anymore as it used to be. But yeah, I think TikTok would acknowledge themselves that their on-app analytics, and even for businesses, is not quite where it needs to be yet. And so we're hoping that in future that's like a product they're going to develop, and actually they will have to develop in order for their monetization of their platform to improve and for them to kind of start making a bit more money from it. So I think it's inevitable, and it's the same thing that happened with Instagram. Is you used to never be able to get any data from Instagram, and suddenly when they started monetizing the platform, all of the data was available very, very quickly, because in order to spend, you need the assurance that it's going in the right places. But yeah, I think there is a lot of question marks, especially around like gambling, alcohol, like proper age restricted goods and services are obviously going to be like a bit of a gray area question mark type thing. But yeah.
Okay, well, I think we've kind of covered quite a lot of ground, answered quite a few questions. If people have any follow-ups, maybe you guys could paste, your some way of maybe finding more about you or getting in touch in the chat, either now or sort of afterwards, and I think that would be helpful. People can follow up. Want to say thanks a lot to you both for joining, and hopefully we can get more into this in future editions and really sort of get into the weeds. And it's a really interesting topic, and really appreciate you joining us. Any closing words, each of you?
Create content for TikTok. That's my closing word. Just do it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having us on, guys.
All right, cheers, guys. Okay, next up we have Jide from Yoke Network. He's talking influencers. I've been watching his TikToks from their new influencer house. It looks really amazing. Very sort of lush, environment he's created there, and he's definitely one of the pioneers of TikTok and TikTok influencer marketing. So that should be really good. That's up next with Jide. Thanks again to Tom and Alex. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Cheers.